IFS, aka Itchy Feet Syndrome. IFS, Itchy Feet Syndrome. Now, this talk is essentially about the fact that we know that as human beings, we always explore the options that are available to us when there's no consequences, or there's a perceived idea that there's no consequences. So, in relation to comparing modern day women and old school women, I'm not saying that women in back in the day did not have IFS. They did. It's just that because of societal norms or stigmas or negative connotations, barriers, religion, and everything else, it limited that IFS syndrome to very few women able to exercise that. Now, we're not saying that women were pure back then. It's just that we were sold this ideology that they were pure and innocent and unable to do wrong, and men were dogs just running around horny as hell, just trying to bang every girl and impregnating everybody. But girls were just like this perfect housewife staying home. Now we've seen, I'm sure you've seen some court documentation, which I read every now and then because some men submit this to me. That men back in, who grew up in their 60s would find that the children that they raised were not their children. So clearly, that IFS concept, itchy feet syndrome, means that women did exercise mating with other males, even though there was this ideology of a perfect home, a man is, the whole picket fence, and man going to work and the woman staying home, and she's just a perfect wife, looking the part. So we're not saying that, but what has happened now is society is very much in favor of this IFS syndrome, IFS, itchy feet syndrome. So unfortunately for modern men, they're not so modern. Most men are still somewhat wired in the same way. Like if I see a woman something going wrong, I want to do something about it. You know what I mean? I have to fight that urge because I realize I'm like, hey, we're in modern times. Women still want that, but they're modern in the times that they don't owe any man any loyalty. I don't owe anybody respect. If you're not doing this for me, like they don't. So men have had to adapt to the situation that's currently at present. A lot of women unfortunately cannot help the IFS because on social media you got women who are showcasing, because a lot of women are not truthful. A woman will say, "Oh, my man doesn't do that," or "My man would never do that," but they're lying. Women want to present an ideology to each other, and as a social group, they try to pretend that what they got is the best they could get. You know what I mean? Like, or if even if they're going through a bad situation, they're trying to present it. Or if all their girlfriends are talking negative about their man, they'll say, "Well, my man is boring too," because they feel like they need to be a part of the conversation. The fear of missing out. That's another concept. Um, but the itchy feet syndrome is a sense of the desire for better. Itchy feet syndrome is essentially the desire for what I have could be improved upon. Back in the day, it was like, okay, I better behave myself because I find myself a good man. I know he's a good man. He's a good man because everybody approves. Because now women will speak negatively against a man who's doing his best to keep his house intact. They'll speak like, oh, if he's not taking you on trips, but the man meanwhile is paying bills. The woman's car is always filled with gas, like all the time, or diesel, whatever it is. There's always gas in the car, but they'll look at that and says, well, he needs to be taking you on trips. That woman's telling that woman, advising that woman, could be her herself single with no man, but he needs to be doing this if he's not doing that. They're just gaslighting each other, and women believe it. They believe each other in that sense, and they tend to explore. Now, the other aspect is that a lot of women are addicted to this construct of a male. So let's say she had this ideology of a male with a certain height, certain abs, certain six pack, certain income, right? Okay, so she had that ideology and she was waiting on the market for that. You come along, you don't meet that, but because she understands that her time is not permanent on this earth and her time of youthfulness is not permanent, she's not going to be forever youthful. So she exercises, okay, you know what, let me marry him. Okay, so now let's say she goes out to a barbecue, a cookout, or a wedding, and there's a guy who is extremely good looking and he's throwing out a little bit of attention. Okay, that guy's single for a reason. Okay, she's like, wow, this is what I deserve. Her itchy feet, She allows him to just do whatever to her. And if it's anything like 50 Shades of Grey, your girl could be messed up, hair pulled, spanked, and everything else. You are the man that she selected because of necessity, survival instincts. But her itchy feet gravitate towards the construct that she has, that vision of a man. Unfortunately, most women have that vision of a man, or sometimes it's their ex. They happen to be, scooped up by this dude that he was vibing her. He treated her like a queen, so to speak. But they would never forego the fact that something in that relationship did not work, and it did not, like, it ended. So now they got you, who they really should prize, but they're really prizing the itchy feet, the desire for that different, something new and exciting, because what you have is good, and it rescued her for sure, but somehow it's not as valuable as the illusion in the mind. So when the illusion materializes, it's like an oasis to her. She'll go all in and do things above and beyond what she even do for you in a relational sense. Unfortunately, you know, am I saying all women are like that? No, I'm not saying that. But generally speaking, women are hive-minded. They follow each other, and like I said back in the day, it's not like women did not have that itchy feet syndrome. It's not like they didn't have it. It's just the social construct. There was shame. There was, oh, you can't do that. That's whorish. So there was those limitations. Now we remove the barriers. It's now women can express themselves in the true nature of who they really are. And we're not saying that that's a bad thing. Express yourself, but there's consequences to that expression. If you want to express yourself to be promiscuous, then don't be married to a man that you want to be loyal to you and everything else. So what's happening in modern day times is women are able to express themselves sexually. They want to do things. Guys be choking them out. Guys be whipping on them. Drizzling on their faces, and they're like, yeah, this is the life I want to live. And then when they discover that that's empty, they want to revert back to that man who was treating them kind, because now they've been, really, it's almost like somebody takes your car and really thrashes that car, drives the crap out of that car, hits trees, hits walls, and then comes back and says, man, I appreciate for the opportunity for that car now. Let's hang out and that's what they want. That's really what they want. If you really look down into the details to what they are looking for, they'll say, hey, look, I want to be able to be married and be in a safe space. And then I want to go after this ideology and have this, like, days where I could just be like, have my share of, like, hardcore. They want that because they're exposed to this plethora of this ideology of being done anyhow, anywhere, as liberating, unfortunately. So this is the unfortunate basis for most men. It's the unfortunate thing that it you may have that woman desiring that, and it's a bad deal for us as men, because you want to believe that when a woman's come into your relationship, she can have a past for sure, but you don't want to have that past to be there ready for her to explore again or something like that. Where I accept that women are coming to the table virgins, they're not. But the itchy feet syndrome is something that a lot of women, once they get the comfort of the rescue, let's say they're desperately wanting a relationship, and then you come in and you do certain things and they're not good. Now they're gonna be like, oh, my feet is itchy. I want to go try something different. Or my ex used to do this for me. My ex used to do that, and now you can compete. Sad but true.